Alright, well in this video we're going to learn about how to add fractions together. Now adding fractions together can be really simple or it can be a little bit more difficult depending on the question. So we're going to go through the two different main ways in which you will be able to add fractions together. Firstly, the simple way. Adding fractions together when the denominators are the same is super easy. It's like if you had two cakes and someone ate 1/4 here and the other person over here ate 1/4. You could easily say, if you're having that you could just take this quarter over here, put it together, cross that out, and then obviously you've got 2/4 here, or 1/2, right? Super easy, not really much time needed or much thought needed. But when you're having denominators that are different, that's when it becomes tricky, because you can't then say that if you had 1/4 here, but this one was 1/3, you can't just add that over here and have it make any sense. Doesn't really make sense. So we're going to look into how we will actually solve adding fraction questions when the denominators are different. Let's go for it. Okay, let's go back to the easy one first. Adding fractions when the denominators are the same. All you're doing here is you're keeping the denominator always stays the same, stays here as 4, and then you're just adding the top numerators, the 2 and the 1 equals 3/4. It's pretty simple. All right, yay, well done. All right, so once again the denominators are the same, so bring that over here, add the numerators, 2 and the 3 becomes 5/7. Okay, the last one, the denominators are the same, bring that over here, add the 8 and the 3, add that together, it becomes 11/10. If I have already put up my video about improper fractions, then you could go right ahead and change that to a mixed fraction, which would be 1 1/10. If you haven't watched that video, don't worry about that. Just write 11/10, and I'm happy with that as the answer. Okay? It may not make sense now, but it will once you watch the other video. So, adding fractions with the same denominator is super easy. Keep the denominators the same. Just add the numerators together, and that goes on top. When the denominators are different, okay, it's a bit more difficult, because what you've got to do is you've got to find the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator for those ones, the lowest common multiple, sorry. Okay, so the lowest common factor for those ones, let's keep going. If you wanted to try it this way, let's try this again. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. See if they match up with this. If I go 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, you can see here that 12 is their common multiple. They both are a multiple of 12. Great. So that's what we're going to plus them together as 12. Now, how do we make 4 into 12? We have to times it by 3. So whatever you do to the bottom one, you have to do the top one. Times by 3. And this one, for the 3 to get to 12, I needed to times it by 4. So I times the top one by 4 as well. So, let's have a look at this. Let's write that over here a little bit clearer so you can see what I meant. Okay. Four times 3 is 12. Times by the same thing. 2 times 3 is 6. On this side, 4 times 3 is 12. And 1 times 4 is 4. Now you have a question which is 4 twelfths plus 6 twelfths, and now the denominators are the same, so you can go ahead and just put them together as 12 still, and the 4 and the 6 come together and they become 10 twelfths. That is how you do it. Basically, all you're trying to say with different denominators is you have to make them the same denominator. You have to find the thing they have in common, okay, their common factor. I'll write these out differently. I don't really like the way they're written out, so let's write them again. 2/10 plus 3/5. Okay. What is their common factor? Well, this one is actually easy because 10 is their common factor. So you can leave this one the same. So if you keep 2/10 the same, all you have to do is say, how do we make 5 into 10? We times that by 2. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So times that by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Go across here. 3 times 2 is 6. Now they have the same denominator, so that's perfect. So now we can just add the numerators together. So that becomes 8/10 is the answer. Okay, let's do the bottom one as well. Okay, let's write it out again. 1/4, 1/4 plus 2/5. Okay, if you're not really good at multiplication, like I said, you can just write down here 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. See if those, and then let's write the 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, let's see if there's anything that makes sense. No, 4, 8, 12. We can see here that there's a 20 on both sides. So 20 must be my common factor. All right, how did we get to 20? Well, we did 4 times 5 to get to, and 5 times 4. So remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So times that by 4 and that by 5. So they're both 20. Then 2 times 4 is 8. And 5 times 1 is 5. Now the denominators are the same. We can just plus them together. 5 plus 8 is 13. My answer in the end is 13 over 20. All right, if you found that quite confusing, which now I look at the board, it is a little bit confusing. Either go back and watch it or comment in the comments below that you didn't understand it, and be specific about which part you didn't understand, and I can help you out with it. So we're going to move on to the question. I'm going to get you to pause these ones in about 20 seconds and then go through and try and solve them. And then look, if you haven't done the one here on mixed fractions and improper fractions, that other video, maybe leave this one out for now and just at least finish the first two. So I'm going to get you to pause it now and see if you can solve them. All right? All right, let's see how we went. All right, the first one, 1/4 plus 3/4. Well, I can see clearly that those denominators are the same. It's great, I can just add the top ones together. So the bottom stays the same as 4, and 3 and 1 is 4. So it becomes 4/4 or 1 whole. All right, with the second one, I can see here 2/5 and 3/10. I've got to get these to their common multiple. This is a pretty easy one because 5 and 10, well, 5 goes into 10, so we can leave the 10 the same, 3 over 10. All we're going to do is change this one. So to get to 10, we times the 5 by 2, which means we times the top by 2. So if that becomes 10, and then 2 times 2 becomes 4, the answer should be 7/10. Why did I write 18ths? 7/10. All right, let's go across the year 6 ones before I worry about the bottom ones. Okay, once again, the top one's over here. 20 over 40 plus 10 over 40. Well, the denominators are the same, so it's just great. We can go straight across here and write 30 over 40. If you want to simplify it down, it's 3/4. That's up to you. With the bottom one, you can see 2 over 3, 2/3 plus 4/5. Well, we're going to find a common multiple. Now I think 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I already don't have to check that. I know 15 would be it. Okay, so 15 is going to be our common multiple. We're going to get to there. What do we need to get to 15? We times the 5 by 3 is 15, and 3 times 5, which means I need to do the same thing to the top that I did to the bottom. So 2 times 5 would be 10. And then this one would be 3 times 4, which would be 12. So the denominator stays the same. 10 plus 12 is 22 over 15. So you should have got over here, the answer is 22 over 15. If you knew how to change it into a mixed fraction, you could change it into 1 and 7 over 15. But if you haven't watched that video, then don't worry too much about it. With the last ones, with the year 5 and the year 6 ones, I'm happy for you to, well, let's leave the whole numbers. Let's leave them at the end. So 2 and the 1, let's leave them here. And let's just worry then about adding my 2/4 and my 1/3. Well, if I use the same logic before, I can find their common multiple would be 12. 3 times 4 and 4 times 3. Okay, so it becomes 12, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And then the next one would be 12 down the bottom, and then 1 times 3 is 3. And then so that's 9/12. So then if I add it to the number we already had at the start, so it'd be 3 and 9/12. Same as over here, you can add the whole numbers together, so the 3 and the 4, which would be 7 whole numbers. Then finding the common denominator between the 3 and the 10, which I'm pretty sure would be 30. Yeah, it'd be 30. So 10 times 3 is 30, and 3 times 10. So that means the top one has to be times by 10, and the top one over here times by 3. So then denominator is 30. Wait, sorry, let's do that. Let's go 30 and 30. 2 times 10 is 20, and 1 times 3 is 3. Then we have 23 over 30. So the answer is 7 and 23 over 30. I know those last two are a bit crazy, but I'm hoping you understand that if the new denominators are not the same, you need to find the lowest common multiple and then times the top and the bottom by the same number to find your answer. If you had any problems with this, please make sure you say in the comments below so I can be sure to help you out later on. Thanks.